right, folks, so here we are back with another news segment, news commentary today from yours truly, Xvault, from Xvault Gaming here. So, yeah, just some piece of news here that broke today, and I thought it was something that's worth talking about here because if you look at the depth of this, it speaks volumes. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. All right, so like I was saying, we did have some news that broke today, and this is via Xbox themselves. So it was hinted at this weekend via Twitter that this would probably be happening. So maybe it's not as much of a shock, but the fact that it did just come out right and say this, here it is. So Outriders, the game that is coming out April 1st on April Fools, is coming out day one for Xbox Game Pass. This is 2 weeks removed from the actual purchase of the game. I can't really complain as far as the value because Xbox is stepping it up with that Game Pass and what it's starting to offer in value. This is just another prime example. Now, the demo, if you've played it or not, had its glitches and issues, of course, but it wasn't anything game-breaking to me. The gameplay itself is what sells the game for the most part. If it has a great story with it, that's fine. I felt like the story kind of gripped me a little bit. If you follow it along, it's like, all right, let's see. It's a little bit of a mix of avatarism / superpower / this and that. But yeah, so there's a lot to be offered there, but some people were kind of turned off by it for some reason. I don't know why, especially if you're a fan of the Gears of War series. It plays really similar to that. So the clunkiness of it, I'm not a big fan of. But the skill trees, the powers, the able to utilize those together and synchronicity, so to speak, with your players when playing co-op with one another, that's where you're going to have the most fun. If you're playing this solo, you're not going to have a lot of fun. Even if you're playing with a bunch of randoms online, I think this game is going to be better played with folks you actually know or play with online on a regular basis, such as I could probably speak for the same thing with the Gears of War series, but much better played with friends and solo, I'm sure. But yeah, that's just it. So it is coming out April 1st, day one for Xbox Game Pass as well. So some folks were annoyed because they already did pre-order it, even on the Xbox side, and said, oh, now I have to get a refund, I guess. And I guess it's pretty easy to get a refund on the Xbox side of things if you need to cancel a pre-order. I did pre-order it myself on the PlayStation. And so it does, and it's not being salty. I'm sure it'll be a great game, but it does put a sour taste in your mouth as a PlayStation owner or maybe even as a PC owner because for the Game Pass, it's only coming out on the Xbox. So this truly does mean that you can only play this for free, at least, on the Xbox itself, whether it's the Series S or X and everything in between. As long as it's that Xbox console, right, and the correct one. But yeah, it just leaves me baffled a little bit because A, Sony's going to have to kind of counter something like this, and B, does this mean a good thing for Outriders? Does it mean that they didn't... I've had some arguments online today towards me with the fact that they don't think it's a negative thing that people can fly, the devs of this. They did speak to it with the fact that they think it's going to do well. They had a lot of positive feedback on top of the negative feedback, so they feel good about it. But I feel like that alienates a lot of folks coming out day one, a third-party game coming out day one for Game Pass. So for those that are playing it on maybe another platform, they're like, maybe I should wait on this game. Maybe I should hold off because A, it's going to be a PS Plus game eventually, or it's going to be heavily discounted, but this is kind of, I mean, it's a good win for Game Pass. Don't get me wrong. I'm not salty. I'm just trying to figure out the reasoning behind that with the devs and stuff. And I'm sure they are offered a pretty penny. And usually if you're offered on a service, same with PS Plus or Games with Gold or something, you get some sort of a package deal. And I'm sure that made sense financially and maybe get some support in some way that we're not aware of. But it certainly might hurt them in other communities as far as the strength and who wants to get that. I know if it was easier for me to cancel my pre-order, I might hold off because there is a lot of stuff I still need to play. it leaves me thinking that I wanted to kind of hold off, but it still is a fun game. I'm going to go ahead and go through with it. But yeah, super, super interesting. But ultimately, Polygon did come out and say the announcement comes a few weeks after players first got their hands on Outriders via its playable demo, which allows players to take their progress into the full game. So that is a benefit as well. In our impressions of the demo, we noted how refreshing it is to have useful loot only hours into the game, which is true. That's a good sign for how Outriders may treat its loot come April 1st. Outriders takes place in a distant planet called Enoch. After getting colonized by humans, something goes horribly wrong and players get thrown into stasis for years. They emerge with special powers decades later and have to help their friends, now much older, reclaim the planet and so on. So Outriders will also launch, by the way, on Google Stadia, PS4, PS5, Windows, PC, via Steam. The game features full crossplay, so Game Pass friends can play with buddies on PC, for instance. I'm not sure they don't call out via cross-console on this one, but nonetheless, there it is. But I just wanted to bring this up. Bring this is some sort of information. I think it's very telling, like I said. Group 1 is that Xbox means business. Game Pass means business. It means that value for the consumer. So my hat's off to them on that. That's really good. If it was on PS Now, day one, I'd be ecstatic myself. I do think they're cutting it a little too close. That's what I think is a little shady. You got 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now. This game's coming out. And those that already did, it is still a pain regardless to try to get a refund if you're like, oh, that put me off. But they do mean business. I do feel it's a little wobbly for the timing of that. I could see it if it's like the day it was released for a demo and they said, oh, by the way, something a little bit earlier. So it just gives everybody that heads up. I feel like them waiting that long, or maybe the deal didn't go through till now, maybe not assuming the worst or something like that. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, I wanted to bring that up. We'll see how Sony ends up responding to all this Game Pass and all these wins that Xbox has been doing lately. We'll see what happens. And like I said, competition breeds excellence for us consumers. So let's see what happens there. But anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Comment what you think about this. Good idea, bad idea. Does this put you off? Were you interested in getting this game in the first place? I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts on that. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and end the video here, but I appreciate everybody's support as always. And if you could, leave a like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, share this if you can, get the word out. I'd love to get this content out to more and more as we continue to go forward. So thank you again. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Hopefully we're not too drug over from the daylight savings time like myself, but we persevered. So have a good rest of your day, everybody. And until then, we'll see you next time on the next Xvault gaming video. Take care.